He said, I think one of the reasons God makes me teach this stuff is because I'm so bad at it.
But what I do want to jump into real quick as I hear those many hats you talked about, village, all those other things, like peeling it back, because you did talk about the bank and all that other stuff of how, but if you could kind of talk about like your financial journey, because if you're anything like me, this is always what I'm thinking about, how difficult sometimes it can be to practice what we preach. So I've had people say like, so I mean, how does it? I'm like, look, it's some days it's amazing, but then some days it's a struggle, because that's just real. But if you could kind of demystify, because I think this is not just in a finance world, but in different spaces, demystify this of, because I'm teaching it, I've mastered it.
He said, I think one of the reasons God makes me teach this stuff is because I'm so bad at it. So I have to teach it to keep myself accountable and keep myself on top of things. I wish I could say that I master everything that we talk about. I don't, but I think I have been pretty conservative over most of my life in terms like I'm not a big spender. As a banker, credit was a way of life. That was what I sold. And then when I learned differently, I learned that there were people living debt free. Right. And that you actually could do that. Then I started to desire that for myself and to desire that for others. And so then I started putting things in place, man, to just pay off all of my credit cards and to live without a credit card, right?
Right.
And so fortunately, providentially, my wife and I, even before we were married, we both had gone through Financial Peace University, and so she developed that same goal. We did not have a credit card,
Okay.
and so what that meant for us, and then we developed the philosophy that, you know, um, if you don't have the money, then you can't afford it. Now that's not how America operates. We say, how much is the payment? So we agreed together that, our goal was going to be, if we don't have the money, we can't afford it. So that was, if it was clothes, if it was a car. She was like, well, you're going to always have a car payment. And I said, no,
Right.
you're not. You're not going to, only if you decide that you're always going to have a car payment.
Facts. Yeah.
So anyway, we determined that we would not have a car payment. And so we saved up, man. And, we drove what we could until we could drive kind of what we wanted to drive. So that was a big piece for me, is like I said, just this whole idea of debt-free living.